You ever stop and think about whether our actions, the big ones, the small ones, just vanish after we do them? Well, according to a really ancient and powerful principle, they absolutely don't. Today we're going to dive into the unbreakable law of karma, a system that's said to govern the consequences of every single thing we do.
All right, so the whole foundation for this idea comes from this profound ancient verse from the Manu Smriti. It says, point blank, that any action, doesn't matter if it's good or bad, must be experienced by the person who did it. The result, or the fruit of that action, doesn't just decay or disappear, even after millions of years. This one line is pretty much the blueprint for everything we're going to talk about.
So let's get this straight. What is the karma principle, really? Well, think of it less like a religious belief and more like gravity. It's presented as this unchangeable law of the universe. Every single action, or karma, creates a result, a phala. And the principle is simple. Whoever does the action has to eventually face the result. It's an internal feedback loop, you see, not some external judge. No action, big or small, ever goes to waste.
Okay, that all sounds pretty big and cosmic, right? But how does this ancient law actually play out in our busy modern lives? Let's get really practical and take a look at the negative actions we might be doing every single day, maybe without even realizing just how much they weigh.
So this principle actually breaks down an action into 3 parts. And to make it super clear, let's just use our food choices as an example. The karmic weight of an action begins with the intention. In this case, that's prioritizing a fleeting taste or craving over the actual life of a living being. Then comes the method. You're funding the entire industry with your purchase, directly or indirectly. And finally, and this is a big one, there's complicity. Even if you tell yourself, hey, I didn't kill it, by being the buyer, you become a totally necessary link in that chain of violence.
And, it's not just about these huge, obvious things. Think about these habits that seem so small. Spreading that fake forward on WhatsApp or trolling someone online. In this framework, that's considered verbal violence. Bending the rules on your taxes or bills, that's a clear act of greed. Even creating plastic waste or wasting water is seen as causing harm to nature and to countless tiny organisms. Each one of these actions is literally nourishing a negative quality inside us.
All right, so we've talked about the actions, the karma. But what about the results, the fruit of that karma? Now here's the crucial part. These consequences aren't some far-off punishment waiting for you in another life. Nope. They start the very moment the action is done.
See, the consequences don't just happen all at once. They kind of unfold in stages. Right away, immediately, you might feel that internal stuff. A bit of mental agitation, maybe some guilt, fear. That's the internal feedback loop kicking in. Then in the short term, these actions can start to harden into bad habits, creating real risks to your health, your reputation, even your legal standing. And then there's the long term. Every action plants what's called a karma seed. And that seed, well, it eventually ripens, and it's what shapes the very opportunities and situations you'll face way down the road.
Okay, wow. This can all sound pretty intense, right? A little bit daunting. If this law is so unbreakable and every single action has a consequence that we absolutely must face, does that mean we're just trapped? I mean, is there any way to actually change course?
And the answer is a big, resounding no. You're not stuck. This whole system isn't designed to scare you. It's actually about empowerment. The very same source that outlines the problem also gives us a clear, very practical path to make things better. It's all about making a conscious choice to correct our course.
So this path to improvement has a name, Prayashchitta. Just think of it as course correction, and it's a really holistic approach. First, you got to renounce the harmful actions. You can do it all at once or bit by bit. Then make a daily resolution, a promise to yourself not to harm anyone. You actively work to purify your mind. And here's a really cool part. You create opposite imprints through service and charity. You also seek forgiveness, make amends where you can, and surround yourself with good company to keep that resolve strong.
And to make this super practical, check out this potential 21-day action plan. See how it doesn't ask you to be perfect overnight? Week 1, you start small. Keep a food diary, try to cut down on waste, maybe try 3 vegetarian days. In week 2, you up the commitment a little, and you add new things, like stopping the spread of fake news. By week 3, the goals are even higher, like starting a little service project. It just goes to show it's a gradual, totally achievable process of change.
So let's wrap this all up. What's the big takeaway here? The central message isn't about being a puppet of fate or destiny. It's about really, truly understanding the immense power you hold in every single choice you make from one moment to the next.
Really, it comes down to two ways of looking at karma. On one hand, you can see it as this scary external system of reward and punishment that you should be afraid of. Or you can see it for what it truly is, an internal feedback loop. Every single thing you do is literally structuring your mind, building your character, and shaping your future reality. It's not a punishment coming from the outside, it's a result generated from within.
At the end of the day, it all boils down to this one simple truth. As you sow, so shall you reap. And the text is crystal clear on this. The reaping isn't a maybe, it's a certainty. You must reap. But remember, what you sow, that choice is always, always yours.
So this isn't just some interesting philosophy to think about. It's a call to action, right here, right now. The power is in what you do with this knowledge, starting this very moment. So, looking at the choices right in front of you today, what will your next positive action be?